Housing touches almost every part of our lives, whether you rent, own, or invest, or just trying to make sense of rising cost. Today, we're talking about the big housing trends shaping 2026. Stay tuned.
Welcome to a Wiser Retirement Podcast, where we cut through the noise and bring you real, honest conversations about investing, retirement, and building lasting wealth. No sales pitches, no gimmicks, just everything your financial advisor won't tell you.
Welcome to the Wiser Retirement Podcast. I'm Casey Smith. Today, I'm joined with our regular around town realtor, Tom Townsend of Tom Townsend Realty Group, to discuss the 2026 housing market trends, changes, and what to expect. Welcome back, Tom.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
How's business?
It's actually good. Yeah, we've
every time I open up my social media, you're there staring at me, talking to me. So
I'm like you.
So kudos.
That's the new marketing plan. That's how people.
Kudos to your team. A lot of people don't figure it out. So that's awesome.
Yeah, we've put actually quite a lot of effort into social media and actually getting it out there. So getting the message out there.
You have to, and it's a long game. You have to kind of build trust to your market, and eventually people start calling.
So. Well, good. I'm glad it's out there. I'm glad you recognize that. That's right. Good to hear.
So let's get started on the big picture for 2026. So when you look at the housing market overall, so renting, buying, building, how would you describe the market headed into 2026?
I would say after a few years of turmoil, if you will, we've had kind of a crazy market over the last 3 or 4 years, a lot of fluctuation. We're running into more of a stable environment. So affordability is going to be a big issue as people move forward, especially for first-time home buyers. But really, we're getting into a normal stage. I think people are recognizing that interest rates are going to be, they are what they are. Mm-hmm. They're not going to be changing a whole heck of a lot. A lot of people were waiting for the market to crash, sitting on the sidelines.
Yeah.
So I think the trend for 2026 is stabilization, which is going to be healthy for the market overall.
Do you think that's a new normal, or do you think that's a pause before something, another catalyst? I mean, obviously we never know of a black swan event, but.
Exactly. Yeah, we don't. But yeah, I think it's the new norm. Right now, it's the new norm. Just we're going to be in a stable environment here for the.
I think I saw the 30-year was at 5 3/4. Does that sound right?
That's pretty low. Or more, probably pushing 6.
6.
I haven't looked at it this week.
Some of the data that I see is national, and
yes,
and it's not always super accurate. But
well,
one person got a 5.25 mortgage probably, and
exactly.
Right.
And they probably had a above 800 credit score, and
right.
they absolutely everything's perfect. But
so which housing trend do you think will matter the most for households this year?
Well, it depends on if you're a buyer, a seller.
Yeah.
For buyers, there is a building of inventory. So that's a good sign.
Okay, good.
We've been very shy of inventory lately. We're still shy if you look at it, from a balance standpoint.
Right.
But there are options out there. So from a buyer standpoint, you're going to have more inventory. You're going to have more selection out there. A lot of the finance options out there as well. The banks have got to lend money.
Yep.
And so they're being creative. They're coming out with some new products that buyers may be taking a look at. As scary as it is for some of us, ARMs are coming back. So adjustable rate mortgages are coming back. We're starting to see that, especially for first-time home buyers. That's an incentive.
Yeah. I mean, you'd be doing that at the top instead of the bottom of the market. So that makes a little more sense than it did in 2019.
Yeah. And they're doing fixed rates, for like the first 3 years, 5 years. And then hopefully after 3 or 5 years, the rates aren't, they're going to be a little more favorable, right?
That's what they're banking on. Yeah.
That's what they're banking on.
It kind of goes along the lines of that 50-year mortgage that everyone got all upset about. But that was kind of my take on it was 50-year mortgage is a horrible idea. However, if you're a young person, and it gets you into the house and you know that, your income will be rising over time, then you want to just get it paid down like a 15-year mortgage personally, but at least get it back to a 30 or a 25 by paying extra.
Yeah. And if your goal is
or refinance it.
If you're really trying to build wealth through real estate, it's better than renting.
Yeah.
So
I think most people just took that on face value. 50-year mortgage wants to be in debt forever. And It's like, yeah, but that's maybe what you have to do. They did the same thing with cars and nobody balked about it. You can do like a 90-month loan for a $150,000 SUV right now. How is that a good idea?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
72 month loan didn't exist when I first bought my first car. That wasn't an option.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's the market has to evolve to help people. That's my biggest concerns about young people. I have some of the best talent in finance here at Wiser. And one of the things you want them to do is come here and start a family and find a house and be rooted here because that's good for us, right?
Yes.
What are they going to go buy? A $500,000 house is basically a teardown.
Yeah. No, we've got an affordability issue.
Yeah.
Definitely have got an affordability issue. I think that one of the stats that I read, and don't quote me on this, but I think the average age of the first time home buyer is like 35 or 38
I could totally
years old.
see that. Yeah, because you got to save up $200,000 to buy what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a staggering stat. I mean, that is really like, wow,
but that's here in Marietta, California. It's been that way for my lifetime.
Correct. And we, I preface this every time we get together. I always talk about local, right? Real estate is local.
Right.
And we always get caught up in these national numbers and such, and it gets so washed out, but it really is what's happening right here locally. And listen, downtown Atlanta is different than Marietta.
Yeah.
And it's different than Woodstock.
I kind of browse things. I think downtown's got some value in there, honestly, if you're willing to live down there.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the urban, inside the perimeter is going to be a little bit different than the north side.
Yeah.
Alpharetta, Roswell, it's a different market.
Correct.
So you really have to look locally.
I just don't think there's much of a reverse commute anymore.
No, not really. There's so many people that are still working remotely that we're seeing. That's kind of where we're seeing the boom in some of these suburbs. Even getting up into Ball Ground and Jasper, Cumming, those areas, a lot of those people are remote workers. So there's still that migration that we're seeing up there.
Bigger house for the same price out there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yep. And they don't have to, you still have people that are commuting down, down inside the perimeter somewhere in Buckhead. So they're going to be a little bit closer, but.
So you said the market was getting better as far as supply. Would you call it a buyer's market or a seller's market right now?
I would say that it is a balance. We're moving into like a balanced market. Again, It depends on exactly where you're at.
Yeah.
We just had some dealings in the Sandy Springs area, Roswell, Alpharetta. That's still a seller's market. You get into those really, those areas that are really sought after as far as, the schools and just the amenities that are over there. There's still a lot of demand.
Right.
You get in some of the other areas, Austell, Dallas, that's really balanced. Very, very balanced. The further you get up into like Cherokee County,
I would say
Ball Ground,
Woodstock.
Woodstock's still pretty demanding. I mean, Woodstock's done a really good job as far as bringing in and attracting a lot of migration happening in Woodstock. Yeah. So if you haven't been to Woodstock in the last 10 years, you need to go visit.
Yeah, it's not the same Woodstock when I was a kid. That's for sure.
No, it isn't.
But I'm seeing these mega developments going into areas in Cartersville.
Mm-hmm. Yes. All up 75, that corridor.
Is that the next, our next towns?
Probably.
Thing?
You're getting up into Adairsville, up into that area, starting to build out.
Yeah.
And because it's affordable. It's still affordable up in those areas.
What's your average price for what would be a good house?
Where, in Adairsville?
Yeah.
Adairsville, you can get into some new construction, like in the high 300s.
Okay.
375, 380.
Yeah.
You take that same house and plop it down into Woodstock, you're at 450, 475. Easy.
Okay.
Easy.
And then Marietta?
500.
Yeah. Right.
Depending on
if it was new. There's nothing new around here.
Yeah, if it was new. And these are 3-bedroom, 2-bath.
Yeah. Nothing crazy.
1,300 square foot.
Yeah.
House.
Oh, okay. Not like 3,000 square feet.
No.
Okay.
No. These are, quote unquote, starter homes, if you will. So, do
you think there's a lot of people still sitting on the sidelines?
Yes.
So people basically want to move, but they're not. Maybe they're scared of the interest rate, or is it lack of inventory?
It is. Well, sellers are locked into their home. So they're still what we refer to as locked in sellers.
Yeah.
Those are people that are sitting at a 2.93% interest rate.
Right.
And they're having a real hard time trading that out for a 6%
Right.
interest rate.
Can't blame them.
So the sellers that we do see out there that are in current, they've obviously got a house.
Yeah.
There's a need for them to move. I mean,
Sure.
there's a lot of motivation. It's a job change. It is, we're selling the big house and we're moving out of state. We're going to get it
Right.
closer to the kids, or there's a pretty high incentive for them to move right now and to get
Yeah.
rid of that 2.9% interest rate.
Yeah.
So we still have a lot of people in that situation.
Sure.
So that's holding back a lot of the inventory on the market. So a lot of the new inventory is really coming from new construction.
Yeah.
So that's what we're seeing.
I was talking to a client who works for one of these regional builders,
Yeah.
and he was just saying, this is just a terrible time for the real estate right now. And I'm guessing from their perspective, it's the loans to build out these spec houses is probably why they think that.
I don't know. I'd ask them what. It depends on your perspective.
That wasn't the topic of the meeting, but I kind of thought to myself, wonder why a developer would think this is a bad time for real estate right now.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. I mean, it's always good depending on what you're.
Yeah, maybe they're building things that people don't want, possibly.
Could be. Now, I know the builders are pulling back on some of their acquisition of land.
Yeah.
I have been talking to a lot of builders, and we see that.
Yeah.
So, builders they're planning 5 years out, right? So they bought land 5 years ago. They've got to develop that. So if there's a slowdown, and they still have to.
They're still sitting on this thing. They got to put roads in. And
you got to finish that off. So maybe that's what the perspective was.
Is it maybe they see things slowing down potentially?
It could be. Could be. And I'm sure the rates are not helping a whole heck of a lot because it's not helping across the board.
Yeah. I got to see it as it's not like the mass acquisition of homes. I think it seems to be a slower pace.
It is definitely a slower pace compared to a few years ago.
Yeah.
Now, 22 and 23, that was a frenzy.
Yeah.
That was crazy frenzy
which is not normal.
Which is not normal. So we're seeing a much more balanced and normal pace. It's probably a little bit low than what we need to be, than what we typically would see. I want one point because we talked about rates and something to keep your eye out. There's a lot of chatter out there with different products.
Mm-hmm.
One of them has gained a lot of traction. I don't know if it's going to come to fruition, but it would be a game changer, and that would be a portable loan option. Have you heard of that? Have you heard anything about that?
I've read about this, but what's the incentive of the bank to do it? And maybe we need to describe it first, but
yeah, the description is you can take your existing loan and transport it over to a new home.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a game changer. So now those folks that have that 3% interest rate, they can take that loan and use it on a purchase of a new home. That would be a game changer.
Yeah.
The great question.
Have you seen that actually done?
No, it's just all talk.
Okay.
But a lot of people are like, this can be done. This is not that complicated.
Yeah.
We can, you may have to throw an incentive for the banks.
Yeah.
Government may have to step in a little bit and incentivize the banks to go through this process.
Right.
So you may have to throw something out there for them. But that would be a game changer.
Is that a Trump administration proproposal? Is that where that came from?
I don't know. Yeah, well, I mean, it came out. I first heard about it a couple months ago.
Yeah. I about this. I feel like that's something that got floated out along with the 50-year mortgage.
It did about the same time.
Yeah.
So we'll see if it happens. But I always like to throw that out there because the more talk there is about it, people are like, "Hey, when is that coming out?"
I'm not sure why.
It's just all talk.
Because the cost of the capital of the bank. Well, if the bank retains the capital, then it doesn't really hurt them.
You've got administrative costs to actually.
Yeah, I could see it. There could be a fee of some sort. Maybe it's a percentage of the loan or something.
That's kind of what we were thinking.
Yeah.
I'm like, it may be a 1% fee or whatever it happens to be. You're probably going to have to incentivize the banks to go through that process.
Yeah.
Because there is a cost to them. But from a legality,
from a securities deed standpoint, trying to clean that up. That would be interesting.
That was my biggest concern. I'm like, how does that work on the backside? Because these loans get sold off, they get bundled together.
That's true.
And
but the property doesn't change. So now the property is changing.
Yes.
So you got to, again, this is why we should all be, everything should be in the blockchain. If everything was in the blockchain, you wouldn't have this problem, right? And you could be very easily re-securitize something because it's all in the chain, right?
Yep, absolutely.
That's a different podcast.
Yep, that is a different podcast.
That's the one next week.
Anyways, I just thought I'd throw that out there just because you were mentioning, what kind of trends and what would unlock.
These are conversations that people who make decisions need to be having so that maybe we could figure this out.
Yep, absolutely.
What do you think is controlling or driving home values right now?
Well, it's supply and demand. So it's demand.
Okay.
We have seen some softening in appreciation of real estate.
Yeah.
I think it's getting back to a normal state. I think
I've seen some slight declines in home values. I see this when we do review meetings with clients and we're updating. This is based off Zillow and like Redfin has, right?
Sure.
But maybe $20,000, $30,000 to $50,000 less than maybe a year ago, but nothing crazy.
Yep. Again, it's really, really localized.
Yeah.
And it has to do with price point, the style of house. So we're seeing value changes in all those different segments of real estate.
Yeah.
So overall, and the north side, again, localized, we saw modest appreciation in 2025, 1.5% to 2%. I've heard, in that area.
Yeah.
However, I've also seen condos, townhouses. I've seen decreases in those two segments of the market.
Yeah.
So, not as much demand for those.
Right.
They seem to be kind of pricey at one point and they're kind of starting to pull back. Condos have other issues that we may or may not talk about, but they've got some challenges.
Right.
So that's kind of pulled back. But we've seen, I just did an analysis for a gentleman that has some rental properties. They're all townhouses. And I went through it and there was a 3.3% depreciation, or I'm sorry, a pullback on his value from a year ago, year over year. We just finished it up yesterday for him.
Interesting.
So he wasn't happy about it, but it wasn't surprising for him. He's like, I kind of figured as much. So
yeah, you see more inventory of those type of units as well.
Yes. That's what's getting built. Yeah. It's back to affordability.
Yep.
Right. Yep. There's been a big push for affordability. There's a lot of pressure on the municipalities.
Yeah, that's another good point. Not to derail our podcast here, but we had an election recently in Marietta. We have a mayor who went to Marietta High School. Good old boy.
Yeah.
Probably should he be handing the baton off to somebody else, but chose to run again. Barely within a few hundred votes, maybe less.
Wow.
Beat out a young man who just graduated college.
Okay.
And his whole campaign was, we'll just say very generous, that there's going to be a lot of free things handed out. I kind of felt like I was in high school again and they were running for student council and they're like, we're not going to come to school on Fridays. We're going to have Snicker bars for lunch on Thursdays and Cokes for everybody, free vending machines. It kind of had that vibe to it. And then all of a sudden I started seeing his signs like pop up everywhere. And I'll say that was interesting. I made a social media post that to some was pretty funny and probably made other people mad, but I said your neighbors are self-identifying now as stupid. Because you just like read this stuff and you're like, oh my God, this isn't real, man. This can't be real.
I mean, yeah.
But at the same time, like the establishment has to understand like what the needs of the community are.
Yeah.
Now his whole campaign, the young man's whole campaign was, if we're going to have affordable housing in Marietta. And I just kept thinking, how does a municipality determine affordable housing?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Well, how do you inject that into a community?
How can you say, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I'm sorry, your house is valued at $700,000. We're trying to get affordable, so you can't sell your house more than $350,000. That doesn't exist anywhere in America.
No.
I mean, there's rent control.
Well, correct. I guess he could do rent control. I don't know if anybody asked him how that all worked.
I don't think anybody did.
That's the problem.
That's the whole thing. I kept like, I couldn't find anything online about how it was. There was, because look, Marietta's it's a big town, but it's a small town compared to this, right? So the Marietta mayor is not like we're watching the New York mayoral race or the LA mayoral race or even Atlanta, right? So yeah, there's no debate or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, have you ever seen a community where the municipality dictates what you can and can't sell your home for?
I haven't.
Doesn't make any sense. Have you seen the home prices in New York? I mean, they're crazy.
No, you can incentivize development, right? But
controlling
it, putting rent controls on it.
But that's what they did here. They had a really sad part of town that had apartments that I don't think had one single improvement made to it. It's right next to the golf course, right next to our Hilton, which is kind of our main hotel here. And they condemned it basically.
Sure.
They took it from the apartment company and said, look, you have roofs caving in. You don't have a livable environment here.
Sure.
So they condemned it. They bulldozed it. I assume that the apartment building got money for it. I think that's how that works.
Yeah. Yep.
And then they built houses. They all look the same.
Yep.
For like $600,000, which is part of the problem, right? But they sold it to a developer. So even then, you can't sell it to a developer and say you can't sell a house for more than X amount here. I mean, I guess
unless you're paying that developer on the back
on the back end.
On the back end and saying, listen, we want to have housing that starts at $300 to $350.
Yeah.
And the developer is going to go, okay, well, who's paying me the other $300,000 per unit? Where's that coming from?
It'd be subsidized. So if you were a smart person, you would buy that $350,000 house and you'd flip it for $600,000.
Well, yeah. And then the other thing,
a couple of years,
then you're going to open it up. Good point. Right? Good point.
Someone's going to get the arbitrage.
Is exactly right. Then you're going to take that subsidized development and you're going to throw it to the free market and bang. You're right.
Exactly. It's going to reset to wherever that area needs to be.
That's right. Which is going to be $600,000. Right. Yeah. So I don't know the mechanics of it.
Yeah. I think I can see how politicians could say rent, but even then it needs to be the free market.
Would you, as a politician, wouldn't you be like, please don't ask me details. Please don't ask me details.
Right. I know. That's why I said your neighbors are self-identifying as stupid because here you are, you're a homeowner and in a middle-class part of town. You put that sign out. To me, you're just saying, I want to sell my house for way less than what I paid for it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's amazing you got that many votes, but it just kind of goes to...
I some days I just want to sit outside with one of those signs that says "Prove me wrong." Put my little statement on there.
Yeah.
Anyway, maybe someone else has some other ideas, but from where I sit at a wealth management firm, I don't know that any of my clients are interested in devaluing their homes for the sake of another family that could then just sell the house for what the market's asking.
Not in our area. I'm going to stay local. Right. I don't know what the coasts are doing.
They're not doing that either.
I'm sure they're not.
No.
I'm sure they're not. But
all right. Moving on after that tangent. So, let's stay on that topic. Actually, what do people consider affordable today? What are you seeing out of your clients?
Yeah, we're interesting. So my first time home buyers that are calling in, they're talking about monthly payments. Very strange.
Okay.
Because that's where their mind is going for whatever reason.
Are they reverse engineering into it?
Yes, they're reverse engineering into their monthly payments.
$3,000 a month. What does that buy me?
Yeah. So for an example, one of the first conversations we usually have let's just talk about first time home buyers. Well, what's your price range? What are you kind of looking at? And they'll throw out, $3,000. And I'm like, that's pretty cheap. I don't know if I'm going to find anything for $3,000. This is where my mind is going, right? And they're like, no, that's my monthly payment. That's what that's what I want my monthly mortgage payment to be. No more than that.
So they really should start with the mortgage person and then come see you.
I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm reverse engineering that whole process. And we have a lengthier conversation about, there's a lot of factors that are involved with keeping you in that budget.
Yeah. Well, my mind goes back to those condos you keep talking about because some of those have like $400 monthly dues. So that affects your
Exactly.
viability.
Yes. So there's a lot of factors involved to try and keep it in there. So we have to walk them through the whole process of, listen, there's a lot of factors involved.
Right.
So let's kind of reverse engineer this and kind of get to that. But that's where their minds are at. They're looking at the monthly payment, affordability. They're not extravagant. It's all about budgeting.
Yeah.
Meeting my needs that I currently have right now, not being extravagant. The other trends that we're seeing with first-time home buyers is they're not looking for a big, huge house that's got a big yard. Simplicity. We're seeing a lot of simplicity come from that group. Okay. They also want to have experiences in life and not necessarily be married to real estate.
Yeah, good for them.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Yeah.
I think it's wonderful. So they want to have that flexibility to take trips and travel and do different things. I don't know about you. Back in my day, we really didn't. We were just kind of like, I want to buy a house. I want to have, have all these things. I wasn't concerned about having all these experiences on the side, but the younger kids, they do. Again, my definition of kids is anybody under 40.
Right. It'll be tied down to a house, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So affordability now, from that standpoint, that's kind of where they're at. Reality is, I can tell you in Cherokee County, I think the median sale price, I'm trying to remember what I just saw, but it's about $450,000. So the new norm is between 400 and 600. Now you get into Marietta, that's going to tick up.
Yep.
Same thing. You get closer to Atlanta area, that's going to tick way up. You're talking $700,000.
Yeah.
But that's going to be kind of your medium.
A run-of-the-mill house.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Before we jump back into the episode, do you know if you are ready to take off and launch into retirement? Get your pre-retirement checklist, a free guide from Wiser Wealth Management. From cash flow to Social Security, we've got your countdown covered. Go to wiserinvestor.com/guides to download your free guide today. Now let's get back to the episode.
So rent versus own. So a lot of people I hear chatter about, why would I ever buy a house? It's just better to rent a house. I go online and I say, interesting. And I start looking for a house that I personally want to rent. I don't see anything. I mean, there's some pretty cool ones downtown Atlanta, inside the perimeter, $15,000 a month, but I don't think they're talking about those.
Yeah, probably not.
Right.
Probably not.
So I don't know. I feel like when you rent a house, it's like it's not yours. So you're not going to, maybe it's just my mind of continuous improvement. It's like, oh, we got to remodel this bathroom this year. Next year, we're going to redo the basement. Next year, we're going to, right. And I guess as a renter, this is what you get. You don't make any changes, right?
That's right.
So have you had those kind of discussions of why buying is better than renting, or have you ever said to anybody, I think it's better that you rent than buy a house?
Yeah, I've actually had those conversations. So everybody's a little bit different. I don't think it's changed over the years.
Yeah.
You buy real estate as a mechanism to build wealth,
correct,
long-term wealth. You own it. So as it appreciates, you benefit from that. Renting, there's no appreciation. You're not building wealth. However, lots of flexibility with renting.
Yeah.
It does cost you less on the upfront, on the front side. So if you don't have the cash, you don't have the funds, renting may make sense. Also, it's not portable. So if you're in a stage of your life where you may only be here for 2 or 3 years and you want to have the flexibility to leave, or maybe you are planning on leaving the state or moving, it may not make sense for you to buy right now. Because you got to sell it. Yeah. Right.
Or I can see if you're new to an area, but why would you rent a house versus a luxury apartment or something like that?
I think I think that comes down to personal preference. I don't know if there's a financial incentive,
right?
Between a house and an apartment. A house, you're going to have to maintain.
I was just thinking, you're mowing someone else's yard.
The landlord may say, "Hey, there's a lawnmower right there."
We have clients that have rental homes that they still maintain the yard and everything, but they used to live there and they don't want their neighbors to be upset that that stuff doesn't get maintained anymore. And so they just said, okay, well, yard work's just baked into the rent.
I have rental properties.
Yeah.
And part of mine, with one of my renters, I have a service that mows the lawn for them.
Yeah.
Now that's baked into their rate, their rent.
They're paying for it indirectly, I guess.
Correct. Yeah.
But you negotiated that with them?
It
or
was.
they wanted you to do that?
Yes.
Okay.
They didn't have a lawnmower. They weren't really hip on taking care of the yard.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, we're going to take care of the yard. So we just baked it into the rate.
Okay.
You know, we just negotiated
So
a higher
maybe we
rental.
learned something. Maybe
And they loved it.
You can negotiate some of this stuff.
It works for them and it works for me from a landlord standpoint that I know the lawn is being taken care of and I'm not going to have any ugly houses issues.
Right. Yeah.
So.
All right. So it sounds like that part is just very personal. I feel like that's part of the hurdle for younger people today is one, student debt. If they come out debt free, that's great. But then you still got to put at least 5% down. I think there's some programs at 3% down for first time home buyers.
Yeah.
But then it goes back to that monthly nut. Now you got to pay the PMI and you got to
Correct.
pay the mortgage plus the insurance and plus the taxes.
Yeah. Like FHA.
$3,000 doesn't get you very far.
No, it really doesn't. You know, the FHA, you can put 3.5% down. You still have closing costs. And you're right. You have PMI,
Right.
you have mortgage insurance premium, which is about $225 or $250 a month.
I mean, the financial planning rule of thumb is 25% of your gross revenue. Shouldn't be no more than 25% of your gross revenue should be going to housing.
Allocated towards, yeah.
And that's everything. Just not the lawn, but just that's the mortgage and the insurance and your escrow account.
Okay. Not maintenance. Okay. Yeah.
No, separate category.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a rule of thumb based on what you're making.
Yeah. And I would think that that's probably still that's been the standard for a long time, I believe.
Yep.
You know,
incomes change, not the percentage.
There you go. Yeah.
So do you think that new construction is solving some of our housing challenges, or are we just kind of moving things around a little bit? Because it seems like all the new construction is pretty far away. I don't see a whole neighborhoods going in anywhere.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's where the land's at and the available land is. Again, there's a big push for affordability. You don't see a lot of, I mean, I don't know. There's not a lot of developments going around that are building mega houses right now. I mean, there are a few of them here and there,
right?
But they're small.
Probably up in Alpharetta.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. You're going to see that a little bit more up in Alpharetta, pushing up into Cumming area and those kind of areas. Everything else, I mean, it's condensed, it's high density housing.
Yep.
And again, there's a lot of pressure on local municipalities and cities to get affordability. So we're talking townhouses or tiny houses that are very, very small lots.
Right.
And they all kind of look the same.
Right. Maybe the insides are unique. I don't know. Probably not. But yeah, I get that. Once the trees grow up, you won't even notice.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm still looking for 20 acres to put about 4 horses on.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that. That's going away very fast. The best spot I can come up with would be like extreme northeast or northwest Georgia, up north of Somerville, between Somerville and Chattanooga.
Yeah.
But
now, is that because of your price point or because of availability?
Availability, just land. But even then, I see large tracts for sale, and I was like, ooh, that may not be good.
Yeah, well,
there's no highway system that really gets you there, so I think you're safe from mega neighborhoods probably.
Yeah,
but eventually, the 75 is going to run out, and they're going to keep going that way.
Yeah.
So, the good news is that when you fly around, there's a ton of trees and ton of land.
Yes.
It doesn't seem like that when you're driving around the city. It seems like there's no space.
There's nothing
anymore,
left.
But there's tons of space left.
Yeah, it's all privately owned.
Yes.
Yes. That's the thing. Yeah, for right now is right. Yeah, we do the same. As so many people, we focus a lot on the north side. So, and we talk to a lot of folks that are looking for land. They want 5. Everybody wants 5 acres.
Yeah. You could get that up ball ground still.
You can.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's, once again, you fly around and
in a good day, you could probably see downtown Atlanta from ball ground.
Yeah. Yeah. And certain little peaks if you're up high enough.
Exactly. Let's shift a little bit to people who want to buy property to rent. They want rental properties. I have less conversations about this now than ever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming that, a starter house at $500,000 doesn't make sense to buy as a rental.
Not well. It
When you
may,
have to-
depending
when you
on
have
what
to
you're.
finance most of it.
Yeah, it doesn't. Depending on the investor and what your financial plan looks like.
Yeah.
Most investors are going in and they're looking for appreciation in it.
Yeah.
Right. So they're looking long term.
Right.
What's the appreciation rate going to be over the next 5+ years? And then the cash flow. Does it cash flow right now today?
Correct.
Brand new, $500,000 house. I would be shocked if you're going to find that thing to cash flow for you.
Yeah.
That means you'd have to bring in a $5,000 a month rent.
Yeah.
And you're not.
If you spend $5,000 a month, you'd probably just buy a house. Wouldn't you?
It kind of goes back to that.
Do rents kind of still sit around $2,500 to $3,000 a month? I feel like that's always where they've sat for some reason.
Yep.
$2,500 to $3,000 a month.
Yeah. And that's a nice
rental.
Well, I just walked through 2 of them. They were these are 2-year-old townhouses in Kennesaw over by the college.
Yeah.
2 years old, nice units. They rent for $2,500 a month.
There you go.
They're 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath. Beautiful townhouses.
Yeah.
Really, really nice area. But the investors these things have never cash flowed for me for 2 years. And I've said, I'm sure they haven't.
Right. Paid too much for them.
Yeah. Paid like $450,000 for each one.
Yeah.
Right. So he needs to bring in $4,500 a month in order for it to really cash flow. And,
I feel like
it's a long term.
I feel like you're going to play that game. You have to find a deal, or you got to be outside this market. You need to be in a different market.
You need to be in a different market. I know a lot of investors that have moved out of this market. They're down in Macon.
Yeah.
They find deals down there that are cash flowing. Columbus is another
I was about
sector.
to say Columbus is, you can still buy a house in there for under $100,000.
Yes.
Columbus.
There you go. Right.
Yeah.
But
might need some remodeling, but not much.
Exactly. So they're going into those types of markets. Just because it's really, really difficult and challenged to find those opportunities in our area.
I'd say for anybody out there thinking about buying a home, don't discount small town USA. I've learned this with my kids going to college. So looking at the home prices like in Starkville, Mississippi, you're like, wow, this is a pretty cool house for $250,000.
Exactly.
And I love this little town. There's no Target, just Walmart.
Yeah.
But then you switch it and you go look at like Western Kentucky. So that's Bowling Green. It's an hour and a half north of Nashville. You'll start looking around there and you go, wow, I can join a country club here that for $7,000, which is nicer than the Merida Country Club, which is $75,000.
Yeah.
And the dues are hundreds of dollars a month instead of thousands of dollars a month.
Yeah.
And they have all the shopping. Kind of reminds me a little bit of a Marietta, I guess. They have a downtown that's kind of neat, but not crazy. Nothing memorable, I guess.
Yeah.
But then you start looking around, it's like, you can buy a mega home for $1.2 million and it's a new build.
Yeah.
On the golf course.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
And I'm down here. I'm like, that down here, that's a $4 million house. Easy.
Yeah. Exactly.
So not that you're gonna, you're in this. I don't have looked at the schools there. No reason for me to do that, but I'm just saying, you have situations like a Cartersville, like towns in between here in Macon. I wouldn't discount the smaller, slower pace, but you can still get to work. Maybe it's a little bit longer drive.
Yeah. And that's going to be the sacrifice. It's a commute.
Or maybe you get to work remote, or if you're in aviation, you only have to drive it every 4 days.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's something to think about.
Yeah. And that's why we're seeing those migration patterns still holding strong into these suburban areas is because, some folks, my daughter, for an example, she only has to go into the office, I think 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
So
she might be able to drive an hour for that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So they moved her corporate office down to Buckhead. She wasn't real happy about that because she was 15 minutes away, but now she's an hour.
Right.
But, she's like, listen, if I, 2 or 3 times a week, I can tolerate it.
What do you think is maybe one under the radar force that could shape housing more than people realize this year?
One thing we haven't really talked about, which has been an up and coming issue. Do I want to call it an issue? Change insurance.
Mm.
We've seen
what way?
Well, they're increasing. Insurance has gotten very, very expensive for folks. Even renters.
Yeah.
Renters insurance is going up. I mentioned briefly the condos have gotten into a little bit of an issue.
Yeah.
Because the insurance, this is what I've been told. The insurance companies took some pretty massive losses, especially down in the South here. A few years ago when we had the deep freeze in those condo units.
Yeah.
A lot of pipes were freezing. They took a lot of damages there. Then we also remember the condo collapse that was down in Florida.
Yeah, that's right. That reshaped all Florida condos.
Yes, very much so.
I actually have a guy I should bring on the podcast who sells condos all over Florida.
Okay.
He'd be a great conversation to have because
Absolutely.
they're everyone's having to do those inspections now, and condos. If you want to buy a condo in Florida, there is one available. I guarantee it.
Yeah, I know.
People went out.
Yes,
like
they absolutely
people
do.
who were kind of barely affording that second condo are now like, we can't do this anymore. We have to sell. And then all these condos came up, and now they're having a hard time.
Correct. And that's because the insurance premiums number one, the insurance premiums have gone up. The other thing that has happened is there's a certificate that the condo association receives from an insurance company.
Yeah.
And some of them are renewing, and they have a stipulation in there that there is a $50,000 deductible per unit for any water damage that occurs in their property.
Oh, wow. So you're on the hook for $50,000.
The owner of the unit.
If your unit is the problem.
Correct. So your neighbor upstairs, they have a
double wrap your pipes,
blows you out.
Yeah.
You got a $50,000 deductible.
Oh, wait a minute. I thought the person causing it had $50,000.
Well, the damage is into my unit. Maybe I'm downstairs, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to try and file an insurance claim.
On them.
On them.
Yeah.
Yep. Against them.
But if it doesn't work out and you have to cover yourself.
The point is the owners are $50,000. So what that does is it kicks out Fannie and Freddie financing. So it's non-warrantable mortgage.
Yeah.
So a new buyer going into that condo complex can't get a warrantable mortgage. So it puts them in a higher rate.
Right.
It puts them into a secondary lending
world.
No FHA, no VA.
Which is why your condo prices have come down a little bit.
There you go.
Yeah.
So that is a trend that we are really watching. And that's one of the reasons why we're seeing such a difficult time with some of these condo complexes.
Yeah. Interesting.
And then they're really strict on the reserves that these condo complexes actually have to hold.
Okay.
So if they don't meet certain requirements with the reserves that they're holding,
correct,
then again, you have a non-warrantable condo complex, and you're in the secondary market, lending market. So it's kind of an interesting, under the radar thing that we're watching.
Okay.
So
didn't see that one coming.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Tom. Anything else you want to add?
No,
from your perspective,
keep plugging away. Listen, overall, I mean, we've stated this every time I come on. We're in a wonderful area of the country.
Yeah,
we always have demand here. It's from a real estate standpoint, we're really pretty healthier than a lot of folks, other areas. So overall, it's great. We've had some hurdles to overcome over the last couple of years, but we've gotten through it. And I think we're going to get into a healthier, more stable market moving forward. So the outlook long-term in our general area is real positive.
Yeah.
I really do. Unemployment's still low. Employment's good. We have a lot of folks moving into the area. We have good, healthy growth. So those are all real positive things for real estate long-term.
So what I hear is a stable real estate here in Georgia, and or at least the Metro Atlanta area. No massive price decrease because of outside factors.
Yeah.
Pretty stable market. We have pretty stable interest rates. You might see a 0.5% better by year end, but it's not going to be down in the threes.
Yeah, the experts that we rely on, we don't see 3. I won't see 3 in my lifetime.
Right. Okay. Got it.
No one is.
And you're 25 years old. So.
Yeah, that's right. I got a long ways to go.
All right. Let's quickly ask you 3 questions in 3 minutes. Tom, we do this for all of our guests one time as they pass through. You haven't done yours yet. So let's start here with question number 1. What's a money mistake you're weirdly glad that you made?
Yeah. So let's keep it on the real estate side. Probably with my very first property that I purchased, investment property that I purchased, totally undervaluing the value of having enough money, having enough reserves, and how much money it actually is going to take to maintain that property. That was a big mistake. I thought, having $1,000 extra in my bank account was probably pretty good.
Right.
Until the roof fell apart and I had to, kind of have that aside. So that was probably a big lesson that I learned, that you better have some cash set aside and some reserves moving forward if you want to be a landlord.
Yeah.
So that
Makes sense.
there was a lot of learning lessons with buying your first investment property.
If you could travel to one place, where would you go and who are you taking?
That's an interesting question. It just so happens my wife is retiring in 3 months, and I keep on asking her, what do you want to do? You want to go on a trip? What do you want to do? She hasn't made a decision yet, but that's all right. We're working on it. Me personally, I'm very intrigued with visiting and touring like Europe. I would love to go on a river cruise in Europe.
Okay.
I think that would be cool. We've done some cruising with my sister and brother-in-law. We thoroughly enjoy hanging out with them and doing some cruises with them.
Sure.
But I think a river cruise through Europe with my wife, my sister, and brother-in-law, that would be cool for me.
Got it.
Yeah.
What's something you believed strongly 10 years ago that you don't believe anymore?
I'll keep it on the theme of real estate. And I would say that I believe that it's not about timing the market. It's more of how much time you spend in the market. So from a real estate standpoint, it is there's no day trading in real estate, right?
Not,
it's
right.
time in. You look at the cycles, which are 6 to 10 years long. So no longer do I believe that you can jump into real estate today and make $1 million in a week. Does it happen every once in a while? Sure.
Yeah. Right.
But it's time in. This is a time in investment. So that's a belief that I now look at.
Slow build.
It is a slow build, just, right up your alley. You understand that. But yeah, that would probably be a belief about real estate.
Got it. All right. Thank you. Thanks for listening today to this episode. If you're interested in learning more about Tom Townsend and his services, you can find him at...
You can reach me anywhere on social media. Just
literally.
Yeah. I mean, all you got to do is type in Townsend Realty Group or Tom Townsend, Woodstock, Georgia, Realtor, any of those, search any of that, and I'm going to pop up all over the place. Our website is www.townr, as in realty, G as in group.com. So townrg.com.
Thank you. And if you're a regular listener to the podcast, please take a moment and make sure you give us a good review on whatever platform you're listening on. If you have any questions about your financial journey, you can reach out to us here at wiserinvestor.com to schedule an appointment with one of our financial advisors. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you guys next week, or see you guys next week.
Thanks for listening to a Wiser Retirement podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Make sure to subscribe wherever you're listening. That way you don't miss any new episodes. We'd also appreciate if you could leave a rating and review. If you have any questions about anything that was discussed today, head to wiserinvestor.com and reach out. This podcast is strictly for informational purposes only and is not to be considered as investment advice or solicitation to buy or sell any financial products, securities, digital assets, or any other investment vehicles, or a basis to make any financial decisions. Wiser Wealth Management Incorporated is a registered investor advisor with the SEC. The host and/or guests may personally own securities, digital assets, or other investment vehicles mentioned on this podcast. Neither the host nor guests of the show are compensated for their participation, and no referral fees are paid to or received by any host or guest for clients, listeners, or similar interests. Investments involve risk, and unless otherwise stated, are not guaranteed. Be sure to first consult with a qualified financial advisor, tax professional, insurance professional, and/or legal professional before implementing any strategy discussed herein. Past performance is not indicative of future performance.